Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
And good night.
Oh, and also, Cipha.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, what's up, Jake? Yeah, what's up, yo? What you need, yo? Yo, you got that Doo Wop Summer Jam joint, man? Nah, yo, that nigga ain't even bring that shit by, yo. Yo, damn, what's up with that nigga? You on some crazy bull.
Light up the goddamn flux, motherfuckers, but the back and thought I moved out. It's just that I got so much ass on the cool out. So I took a break from the tape. Now I wait, cause I'm back like that nigga from
Camp Crystal Lake. Ladies and gentlemen, DJ Doo Wop is on Doo Wop.
I hate that rhyme. I hate that rhyme.
Oh
Why?
God. What are you talking about?
What do you hate that rhyme? That was the rhyme that inspired me, unfortunately, to rap on my Summer Jam mixtape.
That's when we used to rap like, if you could describe it with your hands, it would be like, you know, like the party and bullshit of Biggie, like the, you know. So.
Wait,
but
so
anyway, I get it though. I appreciate that.
It hit. It felt at the time. Maybe it was just the beat selection. Maybe it was just that puffing on blunt, sipping on Tanqueray.
Oh my God, when we found that instrumental during that tape, that's it. It clicked.
Yo, Cipha, where does one even start with DJ Doo Wop?
Bro, let me tell you something. Let me tell you how I start. I'm super excited about this episode. Doo Wop is top 3 DJ in my life. Personally, as knowing him personally, and just a fan of his mixtape game and his rhymes and the way he did it. So you know how nerdy we are on this show. So I'm super excited to have Wop here. And this guy, man, I don't know, man. Like, yo, let me tell you what I did recently. I took all my favorite Doo Wop mixtapes, but sometimes I don't want to hear the whole mixtape. And also, if I still put music on my phone, like I don't just stream, I put MP3s on my phone. So sometimes I don't want to hear the whole mixtape. So what I did was I just took 5 to 8 minute selections from all my favorite WAP tapes and just made them like individual songs.
Yo.
And just put, so on my shuffle, it'll just be like 8 minutes of Doo Wop, and it'll go to something. Right. And usually the parts where you talk on them, right?
Right.
So like I would take like Doo Wop. Doo Wop had the dopest hip hop mixtapes, but then he also had the cool outs.
Oh yeah.
The cool out tapes is like R&B, party vibes, or sometimes real smooth R&B. So I'll have like my little R&B playlist as I'm driving home, and it'll just be like a 112 song, or even like a Earth, Wind and Fire, and then all of a sudden just Doo Wop's voice just comes on top of some shit. And people are like, what's like, if they're in my car, they're like, what's happening right now?
Right.
It's fucking...
Some people now, you know, they ain't gonna get it nowadays. It's like, yo, tell him to shut up. Like, we don't want to hear that, you know.
Yo,
they just want to hear the song.
So Wop, where did your hip hop story begin?
Bro, I was so lucky. Like, okay, so born in LA, but raised in NY because
that's trivia I wouldn't have ever known.
No, he always says it.
I really?
If he plays a LA record, he says it
in the club.
Yeah. I was born there, but I'm from here. Like right. He always has a disclaimer.
Okay.
So right. So yeah, 2 years old, we already landed in NY, Brooklyn for a little while, started working our way up, ended up in the Manhattan, and we ended up in the BX. And you know, like when I say lucky, I mean like the area where I grew up from 72 all the way to the house I grew up in from 72 all the way to 86. That's where everything like transpired. And that's where, like, you know, literally Grandmaster Caz lived 3 blocks to my left.
Wow.
Dada Rock and Whip. Obviously I didn't know this until like 79 when I started being a fan of, you know, Dada Rock and Whip 3 blocks that way. The park where they did the wild style basketball, Coke Fresh Fantastic was right up the block, you know, the park that we play in. It's like everything was, you know, in you know, right outside my window, opposed to just me hearing
hearing about, yeah.
And
it was there. You were there when they were making the tapes.
Right.
But that everyone else heard about hip hop through these tapes.
Right.
You were there hearing it as they were making them.
At the jams, yeah. But you know, I mean, obviously couldn't get in the clubs they were doing, but the jams and
Wait, well, are you Puerto Rican though, right?
Puerto Rican, and my dad was Cuban.
So how did they go to LA?
I don't know how they got to LA.
Like they met in LA,
They met
like
in
Puerto
New
Rico.
York, actually.
Oh, and they moved to LA.
Moved to LA.
Oh, got it. Okay.
I was the last of 5 kids.
And then you came back.
The youngest. Yeah. So then we came back to New York because of the earthquakes. My mom just, couldn't deal with it. So
wait, so what year did you actually land in New York?
72.
That's crazy.
Born in 69.
Okay.
So all right, so we're there. So I'm 9 years old. That's when I think Rap is the Light came out. That's like every time it came on the radio, we recorded it with the boombox. It was crazy, right? But then this guy started hanging with us. He was a little bit old. He's like 3 years older than us. And he was hanging out with us and we called him Cheese. He said his name was Cheese. And he's chilling with us and, playing basketball, whatever we're doing. And then one day he went in my house and he was like, yo, your mom's got your parents have a record player or whatever. And I was like, yeah. So then we were messing around and he showed me how to make pause tapes, basically. I didn't know who this guy was. I mean, I knew who he was, but I didn't know the magnitude of later on. Years later, I'm gonna try to make it like kind of brief. Fast forward, this guy's on the cover of Grandmaster Flash as the newest member, Furious 5, after Melly Mel left. He's Mr. Broadway. If you look at the old cover where they all got royal blue leather on, that's Flash's cousin. This guy was Flash's cousin teaching me how to make pause tapes. And obviously I knew who Flash was, but he didn't even say anything.
But he was just a kid in the neighborhood.
He was a guy, a little older than us, like I said. So he kind of like went off and did his own thing, disappeared or whatever. Then all of a sudden I see him on the cover of the album. And so that's the guy that taught me he got me into the DJing because the pause tapes really, intrigued me. And then from there, I think it was my 9th or 10th, it was a 10th birthday, I think. They got me they got me the 2 turntables, SLB1, Technique SLB1s, Gemini mixer, some speakers. I don't know if they were Gem Sound, but they were official, amplifier receiver. So that's how.
All that in one birthday?
One birthday, bro.
That's great. You had some good parents, bro.
And by the way, we're talking about like 79, 80.
Exactly. Yep.
Wow. I got to tell you, Cipha, I would not have guessed that Doo Wop was learning to DJ that early. I don't think I would have guessed that. I would have thought it'd be 86, 87, maybe something like that. But
so a lot of people, a lot of DJs I speak to though, like obviously of my age, they all like kind of we have that in common. It was like around 9 years old when they knew like that's what they wanted to do. It was just like 9 or 10 years old. And, that's what made me that's why I guess that's how I stayed out of trouble too, because I stayed in the house all the time, just messing with with my DJ equipment. That's all I did all day, every day.
And your first like available tape, we're not going to jump there yet, but just to get a little context of how long you were doing it. Your
89.
first like available tape was what year?
89.
89. Okay, so almost 10 years later. So about 10 years of just learning the craft before people took notice. Like, when did you start doing gigs? Were you the little kid DJ coming out in the park?
No, actually, so around 82, about 12 years old, that's when I wanted to run the streets. So I got kind of like sidetracked.
Okay.
About 3 years, I'm just like it's just collecting dust in the crib. I'm not really doing too much. Running around. I mean, I'm still into the hip hop, the culture and everything, but I wasn't into the DJing as much as I was in the beginning. So I think it was 86. Well, Eric B for President came out in 86.
86, yeah.
Just the aura of Eric B, like just him just like looking as important as Rakim, right? Like, always the DJ, even back then when I was younger, it was always, the guy in the back. Yeah, we played an important part. Us three as, real guys of the culture, we understand how important the DJ was, but to the naked eye, like it was the MC that was the important guy, right?
Yeah.
So when Eric B and Rakim came out, like that guy was just as big. He looked just as big as Rakim.
Make them clap to this.
To show our appreciation for your support.
The chains, the drip, everything. Yeah. And it kind of like that kind of pushed me back into like, okay, dust my stuff off. Like that's what I wanted to do again. Like it was a surgence, whatever you want to call it, like of, you know, I got interested again, and that's when I really went hard. So
And that's like you're like 15,
there was a little
16.
Okay, a little gap. That makes sense. But
There
the
was a little
equipment's
gap.
still good. But the equipment was still in good shape.
Equipment's good, but I was about to throw it out. I even put records out on the street for my friends to just go ahead and take.
No.
I'm throw stuff away. Yeah.
And then you came back in and went hard, I'm guessing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
were you a teach yourself? Like you said, you got some help, but like, how much did you know as a kid? Like, how much were you able to observe and absorb in terms of like just learning what to do?
Well, I mean, like I said, like just watching, you know, the DJs at the park right down the block, you know, IS 137, PS9, all these, you know, Rock and Rob, a big DJ back in the days, every week he would DJ in the park, watching these guys, what they were doing, studying my craft, just, you know, just practicing too every day. And it got to a point where, all right, so we can move up a little bit if you want. Like high school, I went to John F. Kennedy.
Ooh, sorry to hear
And kick. Well, you say that to your boy, probably the greatest, Kid Capri. We went to school together.
Wow.
that. Really?
So,
I never knew that because I know you guys had a little drama.
but I wasn't Doo Wop yet,
Right.
mind you. I was just a DJ, right? But I know who he is.
Was he already Kid Capri?
He was already Kid Capri. It was, I think, 87, I think. Did I see him in school? I seen him a few times in school, whatever. But you could tell he just had it popping. He would do the parties, he would do the jams and all that. And that was another, like, you know, now, okay, we DJing, what are we doing now? We doing parties. All right, you know, that's the voice that I hear every time I go to Harlem, every time I go down.
Capri's voice, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm wondering, like, when you're learning to DJ, are you rocking the mic yet or no?
No, not at all. Not
Okay.
at all. Not at all.
Okay, because
I didn't even own the mic. I didn't buy a mic because I didn't even that wasn't in the plan. That was just
right.
But then when you hear these guys, you hear the Brucey B, you hear Star Child, it's like, bro, like, again, the DJ taking control, the DJ being the star by himself, not needing anybody, you know. So that's what pushed me into trying to make tapes. Obviously, those tapes that I started making that I never even let see the light of day, probably nuts. But I didn't, you know, I was trying, you know what I mean? I kept.
Were you any good? Did you have a touch for it? Could you blend? Could you scratch in by high school?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's what I was mostly doing. Because remember, I wasn't really cracking the mic. But when I started trying to do the tapes, I had to, right? But you know, I had to find my voice, you know, and you know, not copy what these guys are saying, kind of like learn from them, but not try to sound like them. But at the same time, some people always said that I did sound like him. So, but I'm like, yo, what do you want me to do? Like, I'm just, you know,
it's hip hop style.
Yeah, you're learning from these guys, so it rubs off a little bit. And it's like when it got to a point when I let, you know, my boys hear and they're like, okay, now we ready to go. That's why I said it was like 89, I would think. I start like giving the tapes out. That's when I start giving them out. And that's where
you make a tape in your crib, you make a mixtape, playing a bunch of joints, and then you just give it to your friends in high school.
Yeah, or in the hood. Yeah,
on the street, whatever. Yeah.
I dropped out by that time.
Oh.
I was in the hood giving the tapes out, trying to hear it out at one car. You know what I mean? Like one day I just record the road and I'm like, is that nope.
That it? No.
So then I was working downtown and on Reed Street over there by Chambers Street.
Yeah.
At a flower shop, right?
Of course.
I was delivering for a flower shop. So I was working there for like 2 years. And in the meantime, I mean, in between, obviously I'm still trying to do this tape thing. So I would leave. Okay, so now mind you, we're all the way down by Chambers Street. I live all the way up here in the Bronx. So to take the train, you got to take the A to 125th and switch over to the D. I would always have this thing like 2 or 3 times out the week, I would jump off at 125th like I was supposed to, but I would come outside and go to like what we call like the mecca of mixtapes, which was Stereo Palace. directly across the street from the Apollo Theater. It was an electronics store right there, you know,
Yep.
TVs and all that stuff, DJ equipment. But in the back, they had like the display of mixtapes, and they would sell mixtapes there. That's where everybody would go. Mostly everybody would go to get them.
Yep.
Speaker outside, when you walk by, you're gonna hear these tapes. Obviously, probably the latest one that they got from Capri or Star Child or one of these guys, Bruce CB. So I would just go by there just to like absorb that, you know, like almost to like get some more inspiration. You know what I mean? To go home and make something better and da. But my tapes ain't in there yet. I mean, the only people that know me at this time are people on my block. So one day I said, you know what? I grew up here, and I walked in with a tape, and I said, you know, can I leave this with y'all? I don't know. I didn't know how the business even works with that at the time. So he played it. He liked the beginning, and that's all they really do. They listen to the beginning. If they like the beginning, they'll give it a chance.
Yeah.
He was like, well, we're not going to pay you for it, but we'll you know, we'll sell it and we make money.
And I think I heard this story before. Was it a 60-minute tape?
Okay, boom. I walked out. It was like Locked Up Abroad when you finally get past security with the coat, and then you think you're on the plane. They'd be like, "Sir," that's what they did to me. They was like, "Yo, yeah, bro, we don't do 60-minute tapes." Walked out, but I was pissed. Instead of going home and making a 90-minute tape, I was pissed. So next weekend, I set up in front of their store with 20 tapes of that 60-minute tape, a box, a radio, a case with the 20 tapes with my name on it, and I don't know what it was. I don't know. It was a date. Back then, we always called the tapes the date that we made them, right?
Yeah.
1/12/91 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I sold the tape, and I think I sold out or damn near sold out. It did really well, like right in front of their store.
How much did you sell them for?
$20. I was selling
$20.
Yeah, I was selling for $20.
Like that was shit. That's what Doo Wop told. I mean, that's what Capri told us too. Like 20 seemed like
everybody was used to paying $20 a tape. But granted, I mean, nobody knew me, but guys heard what you know, they liked what they heard and they got it. So that's how it started.
Wow, that's crazy.
So like I'm working my way down, which I mean, you just say up, but you know what I mean by on the map.
Yeah.
Bronx. Now people are starting to know me in Harlem because of that one tape.
And you went in front of the store that didn't take your tape.
Yeah, they didn't care. They making crazy money anyway off the other stuff. They didn't even care. They ain't beef about it. But then after that, then I made a 90-minute tape and we took it from there. I didn't have to do that again. They actually started selling my tapes from that point on.
Damn.
So
that's crazy. I mean, also, if it was 60 minutes and they weren't gonna pay you for it, they could have just gave them out or like charge $10. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
They have to be like, we don't. Hey, you know this illegal tape you gave us that we're gonna sell illegally? We don't take 60-minute versions.
Yeah, that's so. It's such a random hill to die on, but okay.
Give it out as a sound, as a fucking added bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So, which tape? When was the first time you started it started really clicking? What tape was it? Was there one tape in particular?
Because my favorite Doo Wop tape of all time is Spring, either 90, I think 93. What's the one where you rhyme over the Alcoholics beat? FRESA
for you. Summer Jam 94. That's with the Bounce Squad.
Bounce Squad, yeah.
Yeah,
94.
But is that
was Summer Jam 94? Summer 94.
See, my tape is written on it. It says Spring.
No, you're right. Spring 94 though, but it's Spring 94, not 93.
I don't remember the name. It wasn't called Summer Jam.
Here you go, Cipha. How about this?
So what you doing tonight, baby?
Yeah, this is my favorite mixtape ever.
Ain't no party like the bounce party, cause the bounce party's alright. Yeah, ain't no party like the bounce party, cause the bounce party's alright.
Everybody shut the fuck
The bounce
up.
squad bummers is critical. Niggas get lyrical, niggas get physical. Whatever. We can do it old school style with Adidas. Bring it to the park, take your woofers, take your tweeters. Doo Wop the DJ for the night. Welcome to the light now.
Now, Cipha, it's interesting that he played the Alcoholics. I don't know if you know this, but Doo Wop is from LA, raised in New York, but from LA.
That's right. It's in his
Let's not
soul.
forget that.
Yo, if you look at
we also rhymed over gin and juice on that.
Bro,
on that same intro.
that's my favorite mixtape of all time. Like,
yo, now that I think about it, hold up. Deep cover, gin and juice. Were we trying to do something like? Oh no. There was other beats on there. Like Lord Tariq rhymed off a Check the Rhyme on that intro. Yeah. Never mind.
But then you did also have a Dog Pound exclusive on side B. I think it was from a soundtrack. So you did have West Coast.
Oh yeah, they had Dog Pound for life.
Dog Pound for life, yeah. Bro, but the Bounce Squad. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead. I'm too excited. I'm too excited.
We're almost at the Bounce Squad. We just got the Capri thing was in between.
Right.
From the time I said I put out a tape with Stereo Palace.
Yeah.
And the Bounce Squad, the Capri thing happened in between.
Yeah, the Capri, because I remember I went to my friend Bailly's house. This is how I got into hip hop. His brother was way older. He bought every album that came out and every mixtape. Every Tuesday, he would go buy the latest albums and every mixtape. He bought the Doo Wop tape. And I'm at my boy Bailly's house. And he lived in Parkchester in the Bronx. And he goes, yo, you got to come to the crib. He goes, this guy's dissing Kid Capri. And I was like, what? And then he had fucking.
That was 192. That's what the tape was called. January.
Was that with the bitch ass homo shit?
Oh no. That's what kind of made him do what he did. That was like 11. That was like a few months before that. That was like 11, 13, I think. So it's 11 something 91.
Oh, I have one 190. I have one 192.
It's the Kid Capri voice from. It's Kid Capri shout out from Dwick, and then bitch ass homo from Scenario. So it's like Kid Capri, you bitch ass homo. Kid Capri, you bitch ass. I was like, how is he doing this?
Wait, and what? That is 192 or something else?
No, that one. That was more of me cutting, trying to diss him like with cuts, right? Yeah. That was like 11 something 91.
Okay. I don't think I have
12/3/91. He came out with his final tape. Had nothing to do with me being his final tape. He was about to just go to Mars right after that. He was doing Def Jam. He was doing all that, but it just happened to be his final tape. He did a whole intro about me, mind you. I was only known in Harlem and the Bronx at the time, so he helped me immensely with.
Yeah.
I thought I was be able to quit my job after I heard that he did.
Well, what was the beef about?
It was about nothing. It lasted 7 years.
7 years.
You know what it was? It was his boys and my boys saying this and saying that and adding stuff here and there, and we believed it. But he didn't have to believe it. He would have been like, yo, F that dude, man. Like, but he actually made a tape. He did 2 verses dissing me. Doo Wop, your career's over before it started. He said that's how he started the tape. Wow. I came home again from my flower shop job. I'm home about 7 o'clock. SNS calls my phone. I know SNS now. I met him on 125th while I used to be out there selling my tape. So I met him in like 91. So he calls me and he says, yo, your boy's about to kill you tomorrow. I was like, what are you talking about? He lets me hear it. Kid gave it to him, I guess, to listen to, and he kept it. He's like, yo, this is coming out tomorrow, bro.
Shit.
I started writing right then and there. I'm like, okay, let me hear. Okay, let me rebuttal that. Let me rebuttal this. Thank you. And then I waited though for the top of the year. I just thought it made it like a bigger, let that thing marinate for a month. And I came out 192 with the response. I also did 2 verses. I rhymed off a Check the Rhyme, I believe.
Were you rhyming already?
Yeah, I already rhymed a couple times on the tape, so it made sense. And I mean, he wasn't cutting or nothing. He was rapping against me.
Well, I see a link here. Let me see if this works. Let's see if you're not shopping on Wayfair. YouTube claims it has the Kid Capri Doo Wop diss. Let's hear it.
What's up? I want to try to kick it free. Yeah, right. Some nigga named Doo Wop. Boy, your career's ended before the shit even started. You know what I'm saying? This is the motherfucking kid. Hey, yes, indeed. Yeah, Mixtape master. So bust how this shit go down.
He went hard, bro. Try to listen to some of the rap.
Let's hear. Hold on.
Come up, I glad. Fire for that ass. Shit changed. I'm still the tape master. The rock is finished. You're hungry little bastard. I thought you was cool, but now you get no respect. You
try to diss my name so that you can get smacked. Dirty of the damn thing on the store. Murdering. When it's that you gotta start murdering. Whoever told you you can fuck with Kid Capri? Just because I let you and then I'ma be back.
Kind of hard.
You got people on the dish every time I see ya. Man, I wouldn't wanna be ya. Your face is fat. What the fuck is a kitty rock? It's a Kid Capri. Nobody ever to the top. Wanna be nigga. Ain't shit. I don't even talk.
No, he really made the whole thing, this whole rap about you. You must have been were you gassed or were you upset?
I loved it. I could say that shit word for word, bro.
So even back then, as a young person, you got it like, oh, this is gonna be good for me.
I definitely did. I wasn't even upset. I was like, that's it's obvious. Like it's gonna and then to make it even better, he called me a spick. You know how much that helped me with like Puerto Rican people that loved him. They're like, wait, bro, how you gonna call my man a spick?
Right.
So,
that's crazy.
Wow.
So, but that's, I mean, we laugh at it later. You know, I went to his crib one time and in '98 we officially squashed it. It was beef after that. It wasn't even music. It was like just beef. Like I went to do a party in Virginia. I flew in. I was with like 2 people. He showed up with like 30 dudes to the door they were on his tour bus with him. They tried to come in and rush us, and it went crazy. It was.
Oh, I didn't know it was that serious.
No, for years, bro. For years, like my boys went to his block where I mean, God bless his mom. You know, rest in peace. I've been where she lived, where he lived at back then, and looking for him and waiting on the block. It was crazy. It was very, very ignorant. Very ignorant.
It's funny, like sometimes just being in the same space and being similar to someone, which I'm sure then led to you guys getting along. Once you actually did know each other, you realize the similarities you had in the first place.
Yeah, we, the time he invited me to, like, we squashed it. I think it was at Roseland. So I don't know, something happened at Roseland, and my boy, who was like a major player in the street, he was my road manager, and Cipha, you know him, Born, Sugar Ray. Well respected. Even Capri knew who he was before he was rolling with me. So he's like, yo, we're gonna nip this right now, da-da-da. Then one time Capri called me and said, yo, come to my crib. I'm gonna let you hear this beat. We should do a song together, da-da-da. And I went to his crib and I went by myself. I was like, yo, let me just go. I'll go to his crib. If you go to his crib, you go to his nice house, went downstairs to his studio, sat there. He twisted something up. He's passing it. He's smoking, we're passing it. I turn around and I realized this is dude just sitting right back there by himself. I didn't know. I was there for like an hour before I noticed that. So then when this starts kicking in.
Oh, you get paranoid then?
I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna take the beat home, bro. Put the beat on the table. I'm gonna take it home. But everything was cool. It was just, it was cool though. Everything, yeah. We talk, now, so it's all good.
So after that, diss, are you officially on fire? Like, is your next tape? Do people?
Absolutely. Bookings started coming in. That's the last job I have, bro. That freaking flower shop. Langdon Florist, Reed Street.
It's so crazy because what that is what we now call viral. You know what I mean? Be like the diss, and then you respond and you drop it New Year's Day, 90, what you said, 92?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Like, Rosenberg, I don't know how much you've ever experienced this, but like just walking down the street, Fordham Road or 125th Street, and different stores would just be playing mixtapes, or cars, and you would have to go get it. Like, yo, what's this? Or you would ask them like, yo, what you playing? Oh, that's this. Or the bootleg tape guys on the streets. Like, you would have to go get it. And that's like what we now call going viral, where like you share it on your phone. But this is like you going to have to go buy it because you hear it.
It's interesting. 2 things. One, I wish I experienced it more. I didn't. Like me really, when I first started coming to New York and going to hear music, it was more I'd go to record stores. You know what I'm saying? So I'd hear a tape at Fat Beats, but I wasn't going. I wasn't on 125th.
It's a little different. Yeah.
Hearing the bootleggers play it and just buy shit. So when I started getting tapes, my brother started getting them from people in New York. But the viral thing's interesting, Cipha, because back then, Doo Wop's version of viral, if that were today, it might come and be gone in 10 seconds.
Right.
And everyone's like, oh my God, you had a viral moment last week. But now it's a new weekend. Yours took time to marinate. Like people found out about it. You know, it took longer. It was harder to get it. But when you got it, it had more of an impact, I think.
Yeah, that's the ill way. That's like the flip side too. Like that's true.
So now 92, you dropped that tape. So now you're hearing it in cars going by.
Oh, absolutely. That's the first time I ever heard one of my tapes, like, you know, like other than my hood, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. And bookings start coming and things like that. So now I just, you know, now I'm trying to be more consistent with the releases, obviously, too. I never dropped every month. I didn't think that'd be, because even like you said, back then, it took, like he just said, it took time to marinate.
Yeah.
You know, so a tape could last months or whatever. So, but I would be more consistent with the releases. And
let's stay there for a second. How were you putting the music on the tapes? Like you could not have had white labels of everything. So how are you physically producing?
Yeah, it was all vinyl.
It was all vinyl?
It was all vinyl, and I would spread things out. I would do my tapes where obviously my niche was the rapping in the beginning. It would be just me rapping in the beginning of my tapes. That was what I did to kind of separate myself from Ron G, SNS, Triple C, all the guys that, you know, the elite at the time, if you want to call them, or the guys that were on their way up. Well, they were actually on their way up.
Everybody, that whole era, that 92, 93, 94, like Ron G, double R tapes were fire.
But you could, I mean, you know, you could just name us. Like it wasn't that many. It was just a few that everybody would check for. And like I said, Capri has stopped already. Brucey was kind of just doing other stuff. So anyway, I wanted to separate myself, so I would do that. But then I would try to grab some exclusives or get something that's fresh off the press or just coming out, and then I'd do a few blends in between. It was like my tape was a little bit of everything, and that's how I would do it. But yeah, it was all vinyl. Obviously, it was all vinyl. I didn't even mess with 4 tracks until I started doing like bounce squad stuff, you know, because I needed to separate the vocals and stuff. But that was it. Like it was straight to a cassette deck.
So you weren't concerned. I mean, at that point, you'd still get some stuff early, but it wasn't, because the mixtape era eventually, in the Clue era, it really became about getting the exclusives, you know, like straight from the label, you're getting a DAT. Whereas at this point, you're not worried. You want to play stuff early, but you're able to get everything on.
But early back then, though, Peter, is like, if you go to the record shop and they just dropped a new single from a new group, and you buy it, the DJs buy it first. So even though it's out in a record shop as a 12-inch, it's still early to the masses.
Right. Yeah, because everybody doesn't go to the record shop on that Tuesday. Back then, remember, it was every Tuesday or something.
Yeah.
Tuesdays records would drop. Yeah, you're right. It would be, you know, it was
still early
to a lot of people. And you play album cuts.
Yeah, and you'd pick, it would be about what you pick to play, and if you played the B side or the A side or whatever.
Yeah. And once you start getting names, start getting connected. I remember somebody connected me with Dr. Dre from Ed Lover and Dre, and he had like a record pool or something, whatever. I wasn't down with the record pool or nothing, but he would give me, like, every time I come see him, like, stack of records. And I remember doing his white label, and it was Redman's album, The What? And it was about to come out, but it's still, like he said, it was still going to be brand new, especially the album cuts, not the
album cuts, right.
Yeah.
So even if you play that, it stood out on a tape as an exclusive.
Of course, because at that time you heard Redman on an EPMD album. You might have heard one single. That's it, really, like 2-3 joints. So his album was like.
And regularly, I would go to Discorama, and they would have whole stacks, you know, 10 copies of a promo that someone from the label just sold to the store, and you would need to be in the first crowd to get them, and you get them. Now you have something early.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, man, what a fucking time! You look at the track list on these mixtapes, Cipha. It's like
this is.
But that's what's crazy. We didn't put track lists on tapes until '96. But you know, obviously, when people started bootlegging them and
digitizing them,
they'll make their own track lists. They'll even rename our tapes sometimes. Like they used to kill me. They used to like just rename stuff. That was bugged out.
So turntables in the crib, a microphone, and you did it live.
So
like if you fucked up, you had to start over.
Start again, or excuse that.
Yeah.
depending on how deep in the tape were,
Right.
Something like that. But then, like I said, then the 4 tracks came into play. It wasn't cheating or none. It's just playing it smart. Like instead of talking while you're DJing, now let me just lay the music down and just concentrate on the music. I'm gonna record all the music first. Then I'm gonna like almost study where the good pockets of where I want to say things.
So as a doo-wop fanatic, I can tell the difference of your early tapes when you were literally doing it live and later on where you put the vocals in after.
Yeah.
And both are fire, but I can tell the difference. Like the live, I mean, also I knew you very well watching you DJ and party, so I know your abilities to do it live. But I could tell, I remember where I was like, oh, this is different. He's now got, it might even been Pro Tools might have started coming into play. And like, oh, he's putting this part in later. Because before you would hear the volume drop, you bring the volume down, talk, bring it up.
Did you ever have days, Doo Wop, when you like just could not get started? Like every time you do the first part, you'd fuck up and have to start. By the time you were like starting, you already fucked up the original tape?
What do you mean, while making the tape?
Yeah, like just the, like back in the day when there's a lot of pressure to recording that when you're doing it in one take. Yeah. And you get to that first blend, like, fucked it up again.
Yeah, that happened to me more with the raps. Like if the rap didn't sound the way I envisioned it to sound, or something like that. So I would have to do it over and over.
Wait, you would do the raps live? Yeah, I guess so.
In the beginning I would. But like I said,
you would play an instrumental
and rhyme on it.
Talk, and then rap, and then get the next record.
I would go straight through. But that's up to like 93.
Yeah.
89 to 93.
That's crazy.
I want to see that Club thing came into play. That's when I started the 4 tracks. So that's boom. That was it was like, oh, this is easy now.
Here's Doo Wop 5192. So this starts.
You remember that song I used to sing? That song I taught you? You remember, Tommy? Back in the club, how you kids used to laugh at that song. Bob and C, everything, all the ladies. Always stop the party and do it right. It makes me all go crazy.
This is on vinyl, Doo Wop?
Yep, all vinyl.
That's vinyl. Wow.
I remember that was the Wild Style soundtrack. I got that at the Wiz. That's the only place I saw it at. Like I was bugging out when I saw it. I was like, I had to get it. It was at the Wiz on 149th Street. But it was all vinyl back then, P. Like it had to be. I mean, and when we started getting exclusives on DATs, obviously, like you said, and even cassettes. Like I got in '96, I got the Taish Harris from, was it Sony? Remember Taish Harris?
Sony, Columbia.
Columbia.
Yep.
She called me up and she says, well, she says, come here right now, boom. She says, I'm giving this to Flex tonight, but I'm giving this to you. He's not going to get it until you put it out. She gave him, obviously I Ruled the World, which the radio, Nas.
Yeah.
She gave me Street Dreams. I was like, and she gave me the Nas Freestyle 96. Or when he
on cassette over the Bismarck.
Cassette, and I think I still have that cassette in my mom's crib.
Wow.
Yep. It just said Nas Street Dreams.
Word up. Escobar season begins.
Oh, you were gassed. You were gassed playing this.
9-6. Track master. Check it. Make it hot, son. Come on. Spark the line with the 840 I fly. Pretty thugs show no love. It's like with thugs cry. Maybe I'm just too demanding. Spark the land.
So funny too, because I'd much rather premiere that than If I Ruled the World. Like I always thought that the freestyles he put out before that album, the album was good, but to me it never met how I felt when I heard that.
Right. Yeah. And when I played that, I didn't act like he did it for me because I thought that would have been corny. Like that was going out to all the DJs, but I just happened to get it first, right?
Right.
So I played it I even played it after the intro. The intro of that tape was we redid the Hot 97 morning show. What's up, y'all? What you got?
Yeah.
So
was this the one that's called
that? And I had Ed Lover rapping on the tape because obviously it made sense. I had Fab Five because they were blazing hot at the time.
Yep.
I had Smooth the Hustler and Trigger, Law Finesse, Busta Rhymes, and myself, and we did that. It was like a maybe 15-minute rap intro, and then I think I started the tape with that song.
Yeah, it looks like that you go with
I went with Frankie Cutler's song first, I think, right? Frankie Cutler's, Keith Murray.
The order on my thing is off. It looks like it's like going in. Let me see. Is this right?
What are you doing?
Yeah, that's part of the intro.
This is the Ed Lover freestyle, it says.
What's up, y'all? What you got to say? Who's on the tape with the hot DJ?
It's the nigga Ed Lover, yo, the freestyle fanatic. Keep a full pound in my waist in case you bitches won't static.
Well, that's that who and that may be, but where you representing in the NYC?
Shit, nigga. Ed Lover straight from the Q borough where MCs are real and niggas are mad thorough. Now, the topic of discussion is the mighty MC of nowadays who has no originality. Not like my nigga D-O-W-O-P, who's not just a DJ but also an MC. We rule the parties in the NYC. Get off the dick and let us S-H-I-N-E. Time to listen to you talk about you.
After Ed?
Yes.
The music starts after Ed. Like the tape really starts after Ed.
Got it. Okay.
This is like, bro, this is bringing me back so many memories. This is such a subculture that's so New York specific. And I know it spread mixtape. Because nowadays, when you talk about mixtapes, people talk about 50 Cent, how he was doing all those freestyles and almost basically people doing albums, but they are not officially released through the legal system. So it's like a mixtape.
Right.
But NPR needs to do one of them documentaries on the subculture of the tapes.
Well, that is the documentary that Tony Touch produced, which Doo Wop has a big part. Yeah, listen, there's more to do, but it's pretty thorough. And they make a clear distinction between this era and then it gets to drama and canon.
Right.
And then they go into
underground albums. Those are basically like underground albums because like I get how it worked out the way, but they're not mixing. Like Doo Wop was mixing records, cutting up, blending. You know what I mean?
Of course. And
the mixtape is a very specific thing.
Was the thing Doo Wop that changed it, like, and took you to another level and also made the game a little different for you, 95 Live? Was that like the game changer?
Absolutely, it was. It was
95 Live is an album, bro.
Right. I mean, it's
basically
it was the first time any known rappers, I mean, you think about it, in 95, Cuban Links, Only Built for Cuban Links, Raekwon just came out. Busta was on fire. Fat Joe with the Jealous Ones Envy. You know, these guys came through and did my tape, and it wasn't even like a business freaking transaction. And it was like, yo, these guys wanted to rap on the tape. And who knew? Like, if all these other DJs knew that these guys wanted to get it off the way they did on a mixtape, obviously somebody else would have thought of, came up with the idea or got at them first. But I just, it was a long story where, once I knew when Busta Rhymes, I met Busta Rhymes and he knew who I was. That's what put the battery in my back to say, because he said our final thing when we, after we met was, this is the last thing he said to me was like, anytime you need me, I'm there. That alone made me say,
right.
It gave me the confidence to approach a Raekwon, or I already knew Fat Joe.
So before that, it was just the Bounce Squad rhyming. It was like your people.
Mind you, I grabbed 4 different people from different hoods that didn't know each other, put them together and created my crew, the Bounce.
Yeah, I guess that. Yeah, I'm thinking that I remember hearing big artists on your tapes, but yeah, 93, 94, it was just
y'all. We had
y'all.
big artists prior to 95 Live with drops that everybody would get. Yo, there's such and such. I'm chilling with that.
Right.
That's all we had. But those meant a lot though back then. Like they were big. This guy said, but once I got that battery in my back and I got these guys and they came to the studio and didn't even like rush, like they would sit there all day, write. Like, it just, and then it made me, that tape, I didn't make another tape in 95. I made 2 tapes in 95. In the beginning of 95, I made a Cool Out tape around Valentine's Day.
Yep.
And then I made 95 Live, damn near November, December it came out. It was the end of 95 already.
Wow. So technically 96-ish.
Yeah. And then 95 Live 2, I put out in 96, but it was because I just wanted to keep that brand, that name.
Right. 95. So question, does your Diaz brother compadre, Tony Touch, credit the 50 MC to 95 Live?
He absolutely does, but we started off it was kind of rough at the beginning. After I did 95 Live 1 and 2, 50 MCs came out. So in that tape that you just were playing with Ed Lover,
yeah.
In the beginning of that tape, in my rap, I always started like, even if I had like the biggest MCs, it was just a tradition. I would rap first and then they would all rap after, right?
Yep.
I rhymed off of the business, De La Common.
Yeah.
And I went at Tony without saying his name. I said to the
biters. He did 50 MCs after you did.
So I said to the biters of 95 Live 1 and 2, like Alicia Myers, I want to thank you. So then he went at me on his next tape after 50 MCs. And then a mutual friend got us together and we just left it alone.
Cut it out, man.
We came up with
I get it though. No, well listen, it's so funny because I totally get it, because let's be real. When Tony did 50 MCs, just by naming it 50 MCs and doing 50 MCs, you are trying to up the ante and be like, yeah, what you did was cute. Well, I'll show you 50 MCs.
Right. So I remember that my intro for 95 Live was like, it sounded like it was so long before 50 MCs came out. It was like 24 minutes long, bro. 24 minutes of a 90-minute tape was just rappers just spitting hard, right? Like just going, just bars for 24 minutes.
So fire, bro.
Let's see what we have.
And then he comes out. And then he comes out with the
New York in the house right now. Yo, Doo Wop representing boogie down to the fullest. Fuck all the bullshit and 95, I'm coming with the full foot. Automatic, static with the Buddha addict, cutting tight tracks. So act like that, and retired from the game. Throw you out the frame like the number 4 train in your face.
All right, so Doo Wop first.
The most beautifulest thing in this world is New York City. We get in ya. That's Kid Capri LOD. Who watch from Long Island, such an ice here. That seriously was smiling. That's the way I like it. You know what I'm saying? Word is wrong. Word is wrong.
He sounds crispy. Is it your house?
studio.
Studio.
Yo, it's my thing. I love a gang thing on the wax. And other than yourself, get your back to the back. But each and every time I bust, I make real niggas.
So let me tell you something real quick. About Keith Murray.
But please take your time.
Yeah.
He was on a super, like, he was out of here when he came to do that, because it was, Most Beautifulest was on fire.
Right. Yep.
He came through. Now, if I couldn't talk to the artist direct, even though Buster put that battery in my back, if I could get to him, cool. But if not, I'll call the street team guy or the A&R or something. So I called Eric Skinner from Jive at the time, which was the A&R, I think, right?
Yeah, I remember Eric Skinner. Yeah.
And he said, absolutely, I'll bring Keith through. Keith came through like, he's the only one that it seemed like he didn't want to be there, even though it sounded like he did, right? Wow. It was like, yo, let me get this done and we out.
Yeah.
Right, because he was on fire. And he was like, I'll do it if I have to.
Yeah, but Ray was on fire, but Ray came there and stood there all night. Even when MOP came, he stayed for their session. And, it was,
wow.
Keith was on some, I'm in and out, but he sounded great. He killed it. So I was cool. But he got so much traction from, even though he was on fire, they said people would ask him to do that verse at shows.
Wow.
So 95 Live 2, I asked somebody to put me in touch with Redman. Redman comes to the studio and Keith walks in behind him. He was like, I'm doing this one too. I'm doing this one too. He rapped, him and Redman did Off the Head off of You're a Customer, I think I gave him.
And roll a blunt,
Yeah.
man. From uptown. 5-0 pull us over somewhere at 380 came from the weed spot. I'll put the gun by the driver. Word up, we gotta wait till y'all niggas going to go give me some job. Yeah. Yo, but I don't give a fuck, niggas get stuck. Jump out that truck. I'll smack the fuck out of hole. Bitch ass foes, whole ass niggas. Build the impact of the brain like my trigger. But you know what we think in that ass I go famous, because you know you're famous.
Did I flip the strip? I'm coming in your fucking flip the whole set when I get down like Waco, Texas. Next, I get down. Who's the nigga that wanna flex? Check my resume, picture vertebrae when I get. Mipsies wanna get down. Your whole style is kind of fit. Flip a when I have to push your asshole. Yes, dog. How bitch you gon' get around?
I'm sick too. I don't play no game.
So they were in the booth, obviously, just bugging out, but he was like, now he's with it, so it was kind of crazy when he did that. And that same session, Q-Tip, that sparked the Q-Tip Ice Cube little drama of West Coast. Because in his rhyme, he said, to you West Coast haters, we will bust your shit. He said that in his rap.
Who said that?
Q-Tip.
Q-Tip.
On 95 Live 1?
On 95 Live 1, yeah, Q-Tip. That wasn't the same session. I'm sorry, that was the one before the other Keith session, but that was the same day though. He did that rap and he said that, and Ice Cube kind of, I don't know how he responded with it. It was through, and it wasn't through a song. It was like, he responded like in an interview. Like, yeah. And Q-Tip had to almost explain himself about,
Oh, well, here it is.
Is New York in the house? Say it now. I'm about to get my man. Doo Wop is my man. For the whole New York fan. Check it out. In New York City, which is a big fucking town, we got 5 different grounds. We got the Manhattan, the Boogie, and Satin. The red niggas don't say good. The hottest situation is the fucking strong house. Connecticut and Jersey kids be getting a wild style. The place I'm from, in particular, the Queen Sensation Foundation and votes to get green. Ride niggas come to Queen, us in the wild when that ass fucks up and gets fucked to the house. But God bless the child, get a child strong. I'm about to break it down. It won't be. We got Astoria and the Corona. Pressure where there ain't too much chat or discussion. Queensbridge, where niggas live how they live. Jamaica is my family, keep it positive. And a nigga from Queens got a lot to get. I'm on that Bobby Brown shit, my prerogative. Q verbal unity is not derogative. A Queensbred MC, they can run they shit. To your West Coast haters, people want show shit. This is how it is. You get blown plus big. Check it. I denote that I denounce. Whack niggas like the squad that bounce.
Wow.
Was he talking about anything specific?
That was the reason why I even did is New York in the house in between everybody. Obviously, we're gonna all represent our boroughs, but it was because that was the time when the thing started with the source and all that.
Right. It was getting weird.
So nobody was egged on into like, yo, go at the West Coast, but he said that at the most, like the worst time,
Yeah.
So, and then when he came in, it was bugged out because he told me to just play the beat for like 10 minutes and he went in the booth. He didn't write. He went in the booth and rapped for like 10 minutes. And then he said, can I get a pen and a pad? He sits down and listens back to his freestyle and he starts like doing surgery.
Pieces,
Certain lines he said off the head, he made it into that right there.
Wow.
Dope.
Let's see what's on this one. Representing Brooklyn. Rampage.
Check it out. From the flip mode.
You should play Buster.
All right, where's Buster?
Buster predicted the future on this tape.
Oh yeah, he did that whole rap about coronavirus.
The Illuminati. It's 5 years away.
Oh yeah, the fucking white.
This was when he was getting very big on. There's only 5 years left.
You know what I really think? I think the Illuminati listened to 90s hip hop and they just adjusted their time frame a little bit because they're like, yo, they're on to us. And they paused it instead of being the year 2000, they moved it up a little.
19 years later.
Niggas don't really realize how fucked up the world is about to be. You know what I'm saying? With that old Go and re-register your name shit at the post office. Get social security cards. Numbers as your name. Nigga, take away your kids. State on your seeds. What the fuck is that? I'm coming with some old ultrasonic shit. Doo Wop. Flip mode the squad, bust around.
Yo, Asif, I bet you never knew that Busta Rhymes dissed the Social Security office.
I do.
Feel this shit. Check it out as we do it one time. Bust it. On your marks, get set, ready, go. The astronomical alien flow. Niggas don't know what you say. I'm thinking that my shit was perfect timing. Fuck that. Represent for all my peoples in Strong Island. There's no need for emphasizing. Welcoming all kinds of people inside of your crazy spot. Giving you what you never got. Bust a shot, people in Bible. Everybody falling down. You're buried underground. All of my people play it cautious. Holding their belly buttons like they feeling nauseous. And they lost some more resources while you suck it on my sausage. And don't run away. Don't run away.
Bro,
That's one
crazy.
take, bro. One take, meaning, I mean, one track. Like all those different voices he was doing.
Yeah.
Just doing it like live.
Right.
You know, Raekwon was just standing him like this in the glass. I had the little studio I used to rent out like $40 an hour called Noise in the Attic on 38th and 8th. It was like right around the corner from D&D's. Tiny. One session, MOP, Q-Tip, Busta,
Right.
Rampage, Ray. Ray came with like 5 dudes that he had to yell at because they were just getting a little crazy in the lounge.
Where is the? Oh, it says representing Staten Island, but there's no. Damn, it cuts off. It's weird.
So yeah, he brought Carlton Fist with him. That's Meth's cousin.
Oh yeah.
So
was he? I think he was on PLO style.
Yeah.
he got locked up like right after that. He just came home recently.
Speaking of meth, you also had this on there.
I'm rolling with my plate. Down, backwoods in Philly, smoking sex blunts. Mixed with Illy got me flushed here. Now the
See,
whole
that's a picking the right album cut moment.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you pick the Bounce Squad? How did you bring this group together?
It was weird because I was having like an audition for like, I don't know why we were doing this, but it was for some video, something like for some dancers. We put these flyers out. We did these handmade flyers in like 93, was it, or something, in the beginning of 93 and 92. And it was like, we're having like a Doo Wop is having a whatever audition for dancers. These 2 guys came from Edenwald Projects, which is north side of the Bronx. They came all the way down to where I was at. And they were like, we're not here to dance, we're here to rap. And they spit and they were incredible. That was Rev Gotti. And what people who know the Bounce Squad would know them as Rev Gotti and All That. AULTHAT, whatever. So they were friends from Edenwald, and that made me like just switch it up. I'm like, hold up. You know, maybe we should do this now. Maybe, you know, like I'm hearing these guys with a fresh ear. I don't know who they are. Nobody knows who they are, but I'm loving it. So why not, you know, like give them a shot. Like let's try to make some noise together on the tape. So then I had met, this is all like I'm meeting these people around the same time. So it took a few months to put it together after I met these guys, but that's what it was. I met Snagglepuss on the concourse, like walking back from a party. Somebody was like, yo, Snagglepuss, that's Doo Wop, yo. He was like a, you know, he was the man in his hood and people wanted him to hear me and I mean, me to hear him. And so I just put it all together and we kept to like concepts of whatever's going on in the world at the time, or if it was like, you know, Christmas time, obviously a Christmas tape with like a jingle, we'll flip the jingle. All these things are so common nowadays, but back then nobody was doing it.
You were so ahead of it, yeah.
So it's like so you know, flipping other people's songs, like what 50 is known for and takes credit for doing first. I mean, everybody was doing that like in the early 90s. Like we were doing that in the early 90s.
Why didn't Snagglepuss make it as a solo artist? Like he was on your tapes, he was on the Pudgy the Fat Bastard album, he was like close, and then it never seemed to quite happen.
I got my deal. I got signed to New Tribe Virgin in 1993 or 94. They signed me, but the thing was, see, the New Tribe was based in LA. They had to sign the Loonies.
The original home.
Your original home.
They signed Loonies and they signed me. And the Mel Ice, which was the A&R for New Tribe, was from New York. He told everybody there, he was like, yo, this guy got a crew with him. Why did we just sign him?
Right.
So me not knowing the business, I let them sign to they offered to sign them to add them to my deal. I hadn't even got my advance yet. So me not knowing what's, the business side, I let them sign to my deal. Snagglepuss, Unique, and one of the other members. Split the advance. Everything was cool. Everybody's excited. And then New Tribe just drops a bomb on us and says, we're moving you guys to LA for a year and you're going to work with N.O. Joe. Mind you, all that sounds cool now, but back then it wasn't, because we were like in the streets in New York. We were following like I said, the concepts, everything that was going on. We were staying in tune with everything. We felt like we would have lost touch being out there.
Right.
You're going to work with this guy and you're going to work with Def Jeff and all these people. I'm like, hold up. Like, what about
what? Yeah, what are you talking about?
P-Rock is here, like Premier's here, like these guys, like we have the budget. It's like a $300,000 budget. They were like, no, that's what we got to do. So we all went home, had a meeting and said, let's just ask for a release. Let's give this money back and ask for a release. Everybody said yes. We asked for the release.
This was you being signed as a rapper?
It was gonna be Doo Wop and the Bounce Squad, the album, like an album, Doo Wop and the Bounce Squad. Yeah, not like one of those grabbing artist songs.
Yeah,
it was gonna be us. So we asked for the release. Mind you, we just got the deal. Like we asked for the release because of that. They took some time to do whatever they had to do. They got back to us through my lawyer, Bruce Jackson. Bruce Jackson says, "Wop, they're gonna give you the release. You don't have to give any money back, but they're keeping Snagglepuss." And I was, what do you mean they keep? He says he wants to leave too. He says, no, he actually agreed to stay with them. So he moved to LA for that year. He moved to LA for that year. From there, I can't tell you what happened. I don't know what went wrong, but nothing never came out. But he, that's why you didn't hear him on tapes no more, like after 94. Like,
I mean, you definitely got upset about that, right? That he took.
Yeah, we had crazy drama over that. Like it got crazy, but I mean, everybody was more upset. Like, yo, what, like I always tell everybody, that's our method, man. You know what I mean? Like when you listen to the Bounce Squad, you're waiting for that part too. Like really waiting for that part,
Yeah, so, but see, you hear the crazy shit is, bro, is in your Wu-Tang analogy, Meth is always the dope is the best, but I always waited for RZA. And you, to me, was the RZA of the Bounce Squad. You know what I mean?
Dope.
And wait, because one of my favorite songs is the Bounce Master.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it called Bounce Master?
That's what got me my deal actually with New Tribe. That song.
What tape is
2,000 copies out, and I sold them hand to hand, and that it got on there.
You pressed 1,000 vinyl.
2,000, yeah.
What tape is that on?
I probably played it.
Wasn't even on a tape, was it?
Yeah, I put it on a 93 tape, but I don't know which one it was. This guy just posted the vinyl on Facebook.
Well, I have two copies, bro. That's one of my favorite records.
You have more than me.
You don't have any copy?
I don't think so. Hit Him in the Head was the A side. Bounce Master was the B side.
I know. I like B side better though.
Everybody, that's the one I would play at the parties too. That got me my deal actually. I forgot to say that. That's the one that got me my deal.
Damn, what's that knock? If a copycat plug out, I'm on the raw shit. I'm only gonna tell y'all motherfuckers one.
No, I need this. Let me go on Discog, see what they're talking about.
No, you need that, bro.
I don't have the vinyl of that, bro, and I love that,
bro. Because then also, Ghost, what's them niggas? Gravediggers end up using that sample too.
Yeah, later on. And that rhyme, remember that's 93, so that's the in between the Kid Capri. That's within the time frame of the Kid Capri beef. I said, some try to copy, but you just can't sketch it. Bounce, then you do that whack bit and stretch shit.
Oh,
Ben and Stretch. But the Ben and Stretch is really from Showbiz and AG's record, and I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
So I'm at the Fever one night, and B.O., God bless, B.O. was the enforcer of the whole Bronx. Like you knew to move out the way when he's coming through.
Yeah.
He comes to the DJ booth in the Fever and was like, yo, come down. Like, now I'm gonna play like an album. I'm gonna be a wild down there with this dude. He was like, sit at the bar. What you want to drink? I'm a red sour. I don't know. I was just scared. I just picked like a crazy bitch drink. I'm a red sour. This guy goes, yo, that what you said on the record. And I didn't put all this time. I'm sitting there with him. I'm not putting two and two together. That's Showbiz's brother.
Right.
B.O. was like, like this was showbiz. He's like, yo, you really went at them like that? I was like, nah, I was going at Capri. He's the one that said that. He was like, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, we go.
Because the Showbiz and AG record is a sample of a Kid Capri.
The Kid Capri. So
you were talking about Capri,
of
but
course,
he took it like
that's his slogan. Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, obviously everything was cool with that, but that shit was one of those moments, bro. Like, you gotta watch what you say, bro.
There are only 3 copies. It's not that expensive, but there's only 3 copies.
It's so rare though, bro. It's so rare.
Well, that's the thing. It's so rare. It's almost one of those things that's rare to the point of people don't even necessarily.
No, it's unknown. It's an unknown song, bro. Mm-hmm. I'm just a huge WAP fan, so I know. But like,
even Flex used to play it on the radio. That was
Flex used to play it.
That shit, I love that record. I want to know. I don't remember where
I went. So my same friend Bailly that I was telling you about that put me on to mixtapes and albums. The first club I ever went to, in 10th grade, I moved to Long Island, but I would still come back to the Bronx to visit my friends and family. First club I ever went to, we went to the Fever. Where was the Fever again?
Tremont and Webster.
And that was your night?
That was the new Fever, you know, the old Fever.
The new one. Yeah. You're not the original Sal from the Bronx, but it was
the same owner.
Yeah, Sal, it was Sal, yeah. Because I remember I was on the lot, bro. I've waited online maybe 4 times in my life to get into a club. After that, I started, DJing and got to not have the biggest thing in my life was not to wait online. Like, I was like, I don't wait online. But I waited online with Goongi. That's right. Fucking Goongi. Yeah. Goongi came outside, was yelling at us, yo, against the wall. Like get in line. Like, stop being on the sidewalk. Mm-hmm. I don't even think I was of age. Was it 18?
Well, that's what they got rated for. So you probably got it even if you weren't.
Yeah,
it's got rated. One night I was DJ. They took my records and everything. The cops took my records. They took everything.
Shit. But I remember seeing, I was trying to be a DJ, and you're one of the first ones I actually saw in a party. And I was just fucking mesmerized, bro. Like the way you rock a party, the way you rock the mic. I got this is my DJ style. Everything I know about DJing is from DJ Riz. Riz taught me all the technical aspects of DJing.
Correct. Right.
Flex and Cap, Punk Master Flex and Big Cap taught me music selection, how to play the hits. And then you can sandwich a new shit in, but make sure you play a hit, play a new song, play a hit. Like all that I learned from them. And then rocking a party, touching the microphone came from me watching you at the Tunnel a couple times. And then when I used to open for you at Club Speed.
Yeah, Speed.
But you don't understand, like what I do now, I do stand-up comedy. It came from, first I was just trying to copy you. I would talk on the mic just like you. And then my friends would be like, bro, you're saying his slogans. You can't say that. I'm like, I just got to get it out so I can learn it. And what differentiated me from all the other DJs is I started just saying little funny shit, but with that New York DJ Mike bravado. And how you would say slick shit and street shit, I was like, I wonder if I just like make like a little joke. And that's what spawned my whole fucking comedy career. Because people be like, when you were done DJing, they'd be like, yo, you rock that shit. And then when I was done, they'd be like, yo, you was funny, yo. Like a girl would be like, yo, you funny. So that's what like got me down to shit. But I remember studying you in speed. I was done at what time you ever got on? 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. I could leave after that.
Yeah, you used to chill. You used to chill though. Like, because I remember you remember I used to come back to that booth with like 30 dudes. Remember I used to come back, Cipha used to be just sticking out, right? Chilling. I was like, yo, Cipha, ain't you gotta go upstairs? Because I thought you used to DJ upstairs after. I think Max.
Yeah, sometimes, DJ upstairs with reggae.
Max Blazer. So they used to chill right there because back then we would, it's no lie, like before Speed, maybe that day or the day before, I would set up that first 15 minutes.
Right.
Everything after that is wing it.
Right.
But that first 15 minutes,
how to come on,
grabbing them records like this right out. Like I didn't have to look through the crate.
Right.
So and I would just line them up, and I'll be like, okay, this is gonna get them. We're gonna get them with this, draw them in, and then boom. But y'all, I mean, that was a good combination, bro. We all had that joint rocking before I even got there. But it was like, but you knew how to like how to navigate through. Okay, I know Wop's gonna come in with like when Scrubs came out. I mean, when Pigeons came out. We knew like I had to play that at 1 o'clock.
Of course.
So it was like, it's like, it's like you didn't even got to say it. Like, I
learned all that.
So remember the Muse, Cipha? Remember the Muse?
I never went to the Muse.
Okay, the Muse. I did
heard
that
of it.
Whenever Don't Sweat the Technique came out.
Right.
I would say 92, Pete, maybe.
Yeah.
Rock, Eric B. I was DJing there like every week. So I'm DJing there this night, and Eric B. and Rakim are going to perform. This is, it's a flyer. It's everything. They're good. Everybody knows they're about to perform. And I played Don't Sweat the Technique when they walked in. The lady, whoever the promoter was, she ran to the booth, started yelling. I'm like, because this time, remember, I'm already feeling myself. Well, why she yells at me? Like, don't fucking yell at me. And then she's like, you can't do that. Like, why would you do that? Like,
no one yells at me. I'm fucking DJ Doo Wop, goddammit.
But you were doing it in appreciation.
Yeah, that's what he thought. That's one of those things. Anyone could make that mistake until you never play the record of the person who's there. Hey, Doo Wop, will you give us a little more time on Patreon?
Whatever you want to do is fine. What I got to do here, though?
Nothing. You just stay doing what you're doing. But you, our audience, if you want to hear more with Doo Wop, and we got a bunch of other stuff we need to ask him about.
You gotta ask him about Biggie,
and
gotta come and Pun.
Yeah, and deciding to work with the Diaz brothers with Tony Touch. There's a lot to do. So go over to the Patreon, patreon.com/Juan Ep is life.
If there was ever a moment where you were trying to decide whether you should join us on Patreon or not, these stories coming up.
Look at you, Cipha. Look at you doing promo.
Woo.